2023 ended up being a fairly uneventful year in terms of Puyo Puyo. I think that the biggest thing was the return of Puyoman. I made 2 whole videos about that. Some other things of interest that happened was a release of a fan translation patch for PC98 Model 1, and Puyo Patch-a-Slot getting into the hands of fans, awaiting the ROM to be dumped online. Considering PC98 Model 123 released originally all the way back in 1991, it is probably the most long-awaited and overdue Puyo or Madou game to receive a fan translation. The team are currently working on the translation of the 2 and 3 portion of 123, so that's one thing to be excited for this year. I know most Puyo fans are pretty mixed now about the art style of the game, but I still love it and find it to be really cool. As for Puyo Puyo Patch-a-Slot, most give this a lot of significance as it's one of the few times Sega actually bothered animating the characters traditionally, so having actual footage of the game that's not just recorded off of a screen is pretty nice. I think the other thing of note that happened in 2023 was when the official Sega of America Twitter started putting out advertisements in English for Puyo Puyo Quest, as in the Puyo gacha game not available in English. Clicking on the ad would send you to the Japanese App Store, and then they later clarified that it was indeed available on the Japanese App Store. You confused? Because I sure as hell was. To add to this, is that 3 of the ads featured these never-before-seen renders of Arl, Carbuncle, and Amity, although they're just the 3DS models from Puyo Puyo Chronicle with some slight edits. What the hell? Now, there's a few possible explanations as to what's going on. One is that Sega was making an FU to Apple and encouraging Western users to make foreign App Store accounts, amusingly something that Apple discourages. 2 is that Sega are planning a localization and ran these ads early with a placeholder link. Unlikely in my opinion, but this is Sega of America we're talking about, so don't have high hopes that they would avoid slip-ups like this. And 3 is that there's no localization planned and this was all just miscommunication. Again, this is Sega we're talking about, so that's entirely a possibility. Also, apparently the Puyo Puyo Tetris series has sold over 3 million units. So that's Puyo Tetris 1 and 2 together, with their sales combined. Not sure why they counted them like that, but alright. But anyways, what is so significant about 2024 and Puyo Puyo? Well, to begin, the number 24 is quite literally significant to Puyo Puyo, because in Japanese, 24 can be read as Fuyo, which sounds like Puyo. So already 2024 is literally the year of Puyo. 24 has been a significant number for Puyo Puyo pretty much for almost as long as Sega has been at the helm of the series. You ever wonder why that for like 4 games in a row, they capped the playable characters to only 24? That's the reason why. I always hated this rule not only because it limits who can come back to the series and be made playable, and it also means that your favourite character could just be cut in the upcoming installment of Puyo Puyo, but also because they would break their own damn rule all the time. Puyo Puyo 20th Anniversary has these alternate skins for 6 characters, one of which is Possessed Klug, who in previous and future installments was considered an entirely separate character and not just an alt skin. Puyo Puyo Chronicle has 5 skill battle characters who basically behave the same way in skill battle as any of the other playable characters in the other modes, and Puyo Puyo Champions added 2 free DLC characters, those being Rafasol and Paprisu, but are only selectable via a button combo. Thankfully, Puyo Puyo Tetris 2 finally let this rule die off and added way more playable characters than only 24. But I digress. 2024 is still the year of Puyo, and that's a good thing. So what exactly are we getting this year to celebrate? Good lord, are we actually being fed, and I'm not just talking about Puyo Manju this time. Firstly is quite possibly one of the most unexpected yet long overdue announcements. Madou Monogatari 4 is in development, which I'll get to soon. To add to this, after over 3 years of no new Puyo game in the time since Puyo Tetris 2's release, we have confirmation a new one will be coming soon, and we only know because Feli's Japanese voice actor last year confirmed she recorded new lines for it. That's it, for now. Honestly, we know so little about this new entry that I'm not even going to bother speculating on what it might include until maybe a later date, because literally all we know about it is that it exists and that I guess Feli is in it. Cool. As for Madou 4, this is a big fucking thing. The last Madou game released in 2005, and you can't even play it anymore. It's lost media. That sucks. But anyways, Madou 4 is big. All we know for sure about it for now is that it's slated for a summer release, or winter if you live in the southern hemisphere, It's going to be on PlayStation 4, 5, and Switch. Sting are developing it, with permission from Sega to use their characters, and among the confirmed characters returning are the Puyos, Carbuncle, Skeleton T, and Skatadara. It also looks like Ichi will be doing the art for this game. And there's no word on a worldwide release just yet. I'm not too confident that there will be one, unfortunately. Tons of the old Madou games have been really recently released on PC natively for the first time, but still only in Japan. You'd think finally officially translating these would be a great opportunity to finally introduce a wider Western audience to this underappreciated series in preparation of a new title coming soon. But what do I know? But anyways, to say I'm excited is an understatement, because this game feels like what my life as a Puyo fan has been leading up to. There's so many opportunities for this game, and I want to see what they might potentially follow through on. They could perhaps finally bring back some of the Madou-only characters that were never once in a Puyo game. One particular thing I'm hoping to see return is Arul's association with sunflowers. They were shown in the compile era to be her favourite flowers, and any characters that like sunflowers are cool in my book. Another thing I'm hoping for is that this game will somehow tie into the new Puyo game that's also coming. I know this part is a bit of a long shot, since I know these two games are being handled by two different developers, but I would be happy if they could figure something out. I don't necessarily want to see the Sega era Puyo characters show up in this Madou game. Maybe if they continue making more Madou games after Madou 4, they could ease them in. But for now, I'm just hoping Madou 4 is a return to form, story and lore-wise, and focuses on the main compile cast, like Arul, Rulu, Schezo, and maybe Lagnus too if we're lucky. Maybe if this new Madou game introduces a new character, they could be playable in the new Puyo game. That would actually be pretty cool. But yeah, not much else is known about the game for now. I just hope it's good. I don't really mind if it's Madou sat in traditional JRPG gameplay, because I do love that game, but I would be happy to see a return to the dungeon crawler gameplay instead, since how many other games being made today are like this? Whatever the case, it is nice knowing that we're finally getting new Puyo stuff again, and that the series isn't dead, and maybe it'll finally get the wider positive attention in the West that it rightfully deserves. Let's dream big, but not too big. To close this video out, all I'll say is play Puyo. And Madou. Particularly Madou, that series is cool as fuck.